Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the absolute heavyweights of AI coding right now, Kimi K2.7 and Claude Code. Now, if you've been anywhere near the software development space lately, you've absolutely heard these two names thrown around. But here's the thing. The way most people are talking about them, it's completely backwards. Well, we're going to fix that today by breaking down what I consider the ultimate AI workflow. Here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll tackle the false AI rivalry. Then we'll define the CTO and the developer roles. After that, we'll walk through the startup founder workflow, followed by the AI agency pipeline. And finally, we'll cover the real-world limitations and the future of all this. Section 1. The false AI rivalry. Right now, almost everyone looking at these new AI models is approaching them with a completely flawed perspective. Seriously, everyone is asking the exact same question. Kimi K2.7 or Claude Code? Which one wins? If I have a new project, which one should I pick? But honestly, framing this as a head-to-head competition is completely the wrong approach. Putting these tools against each other in real projects, in real workflows, and under real stress reveals something that almost nobody in the tech space is talking about right now. Here is the core paradigm shift you need to make. These two tools are not competitors. They are partners. When you stop comparing them and actually start combining them, your productivity doesn't just increase, it shifts into a completely different gear. You go from having a smart little code assistant to having a fully functional development lifecycle at your fingertips. You unlock a level of velocity that is honestly hard to overstate until you experience it firsthand. Section 2. Defining the CTO and developer. To understand exactly why these two work so perfectly together, we really need to look under the hood. First, let's examine Kimi K2.7. This is the latest coding-focused model from the Moonshot AI team, and the numbers are genuinely incredible. It boasts a massive 256,000 token context window. That means it can hold huge, complex code bases in its memory all at once. It's built specifically for long-horizon coding tasks, so you give it a big project and it doesn't fall apart or just kind of lose the plot halfway through. Even better, it uses around 30% fewer reasoning tokens than its predecessor, K2.6. Less token burn means faster results and a drastically lower cost per task. Simply put, Kimi K2.7 is the ultimate cost-efficient builder. You give it a spec, and it executes cleanly and fast. Now, contrast that with the 2026 updates to Claude Code. Claude is a completely different beast entirely. It's not just an AI that writes code anymore. Claude can now create dynamic orchestration scripts to coordinate other AI agents. It actually launches multiple parallel sub-agents to run tasks simultaneously. It even automatically validates and self-checks its own outputs for errors. Plus, it has this incredible new feature called routines, which are basically reusable workflows that plug directly into an enterprise's existing processes. So Claude Code acts less like a simple coding assistant and much more like a full AI engineering team. This brilliantly illustrates the framework I want you to anchor in your mind for the rest of this explainer. Claude is your CTO. It thinks, it reviews, and it manages all the underlying architectural complexity. Kimi is your senior developer. It builds, it implements, and it does the heavy lifting of executing the spec. Take a moment to let that sink in. Claude thinks, Kimi builds. Claude reviews, Kimi implements. It's a perfect symbiosis. Section 3. The startup founder workflow. So, how do we actually apply this? Let's move into our first highly actionable playbook. This one is designed specifically for a solo founder who's building a full-stack application from scratch with zero engineering team. Here's the vital first step. Listen closely. You do not start by asking for code. Instead, you open Claude Code and prompt it to act as your CTO. You feed it your product idea and ask it to output a database schema, a technical roadmap broken into phases, and the complete user flow from onboarding to the core features. Claude thinks through the big picture. It catches the security concerns, the scalability traps, and the dependency risks long before a single line of code is ever written. Once you have that brilliant architectural document in hand, you move to step 2. You hand Claude's blueprint directly over to Kimi K2.7. You command Kimi to build out the front end, generate the back-end routes, and set up the authentication layer. And remember that massive 256,000 token context window we talked about earlier? Because of that, Kimi holds that entire CTO-level spec in its memory. It never loses track of the overarching plan. It just puts its head down and executes the build efficiently, reliably, and consistently. Finally, you complete the startup loop by taking Kimi's finished code and bringing it right back to Claude. This time, you prompt Claude to put on its quality assurance hat. Claude runs a full security audit, a rigorous code review, and an architecture sanity check. It flags what's fragile and what might potentially break at scale. Think about what you just accomplished here. Planning, building, and reviewing an entire software cycle all by yourself, simply by managing these two AI partners effectively.
Section 4. The AI Agency Pipeline.
Now let's level this up for service businesses that are building complex, multi-phase products. Let's say a client hires your agency to build a custom CRM. In the agency approach, you break the work down systematically. In Phase 1, Claude Code acts as your solution architect. It designs the system boundaries, prioritizes features by complexity, and creates a QA checklist. Then, in Phase 2, Kimi takes those boundaries and tackles the build module by module. Sprint 1 might be contact management, Sprint 2 is pipeline tracking, and so on. Finally, in Phase 3, Claude runs a final audit to validate all the API contracts and flag any UX issues across the entire logic flow. This process builds into a highly professional 5-phase cycle. Claude plans, Kimi builds, Claude reviews, Kimi optimizes, and Claude runs the final audit. This isn't just a clever little trick. This is a repeatable, fully scalable software delivery system. It brings massive predictability to incredibly complex client work, which allows you to punch way above your weight class without expanding your headcount. Section 5, Limitations and the Future. Now, I'm not here to just hype these tools without giving you the full picture, so let's impartially address their real-world limitations to establish a grounded, realistic perspective, starting with Kimi's blind spots. Kimi is fast, but if your spec is vague, it will fill in the blanks itself, and its assumptions might not match your vision. It's the classic rule, garbage in, garbage out. Also, while 256K is huge on massive, messy legacy code bases, it can still lose coherence at the very tail end of a long session. On the flip side, what about Claude's code? Well, its advanced multi-agent orchestration comes with a pretty steep learning curve, and it adds significant coordination overhead. You are basically programming AI to manage AI. Additionally, while Claude's routines are fantastic for repeatable work, they can feel highly constrictive if your project requires unpredictable, highly creative problem solving. But, recognizing those limitations actually helps us clearly see the bigger picture. The shift is happening right now, in real time. The role of the developer is transforming from simply writing raw code to orchestrating highly capable AI systems. The most effective builders moving forward won't just pick one single tool. Instead, they'll strategically chain these diverse AI intelligences together to cover their blind spots. To really drive the point home, think of the ultimate construction analogy. Claude is your architect. It designs the load-bearing structures, checks the zoning, and creates the blueprint. Kimi is your contractor. It rapidly, safely, and efficiently lays the bricks. You would never ask your architect to lay bricks, and you wouldn't ask your contractor to design a load-bearing structure from scratch. This strict division of responsibility is absolutely the future of AI-assisted development. So, that brings us to the end of our explainer. But I want to leave you with a question to think about. What is the one part of your current workflow that AI absolutely cannot replace, and why? We're testing something for our next explainer, and we really want to know where the human limits still apply in your day-to-day work. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe, please, and drop a comment in the comment box below with your answer. Keep building.